My husband wanted me to sell my condo for his brother's $3 million debt. His mom backed him. My husband told me, plain as day, that I needed to sell the condo I bought before we ever got married, just so we could pay off his brother's $3 million gambling mess. And as if that wasn't enough, his mom chimed in with, "Sweetheart, you really don't have a say in this. No sympathy, no shame, just cold pressure." But before I dive into all that, let me say this, I've noticed the channel's been slowing down a bit lately. If you're here and you like these stories, hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to show support. It's fast, it's free, and it really helps keep this community growing strong. It wasn't just a condo. It was my place, my downtown Chicago home, the one I'd worked hard for before I ever met him. But now they expected me to hand it over to cover Julian's colossal casino disaster. And when I hesitated, his mom actually warned me there'd be consequences if I didn't go along. Like I was some kind of outsider crashing their party. But what about my little girl, Maya? She was only 5. Where were she and I supposed to go? So, I did what any mom would do when she's backed into a corner. I caved. And if that was a mistake, well, let me explain how I got there. Back when I was 33, working as a freelance graphic designer, I met Adrian during the Summer Jazz Festival at Millennium Park. I still remember the sound of horns playing in the background as he bought me a way too expensive tray of festival nachos and actually listened, like really listened, while I rambled about my dream of opening my own design studio. We hit it off right away. By our 4th date, we were walking along the lakefront, and he turned to me and said, "You're different, Noelle. Most women don't get how much family loyalty matters to me." I thought that was admirable. Honestly, I thought it was kind of sweet. God, looking back, I was so naive. We dated for 8 months before he got down on one knee and proposed at Navy Pier, right there under a sky full of fireworks. His whole family was there, his parents, Everett and Celeste, his younger brother Julian, even his grandmother. Everyone clapped and cheered like it was some royal affair. Celeste actually got misty-eyed. She pulled me into this warm embrace and whispered, "Welcome to the family, sweetheart." In that moment, I genuinely felt like I was stepping into something solid and real, something I'd longed for growing up in foster care. But marriage? Oh, marriage flipped the switch on everything. It didn't take long for me to realize that every little thing in our Lincoln Park apartment needed Celeste's silent stamp of approval. What kind of art I hung, what I cooked on Sundays, even how I arranged Adrian's home office, it all had to fit her version of acceptable. She'd swing by without calling, strutting in with her designer handbag and that tight-lipped smile, scanning the place like she was inspecting a hotel room she didn't quite trust. I'll never forget the time she walked up to our navy accent wall, brushed her fingers across it, and said, "You picked the shade of blue?" Like I'd insulted her personally. I guess it's contemporary, she added, drifting into the kitchen. Then came the food commentary. Quinoa bowls again, sweetheart. Successful men need real food. Red meat. Not all this health stuff. I'd bite my tongue and chew my kale in silence while Adrian stood by, saying nothing. Not once did he step in or shut it down. He'd just kiss her cheek and say, "Mom means well, babe." That became his motto. Every single day, when he walked through the door, it wasn't "Hi" or "How was your day?" Nope. It was always, "Honey, my mother called." That woman was practically our third roommate. When I got pregnant with Maya, I figured things would finally change. Surely, once we had our own child, we'd become our own little team. A family, right? Wrong again. Celeste showed up one day, spotted me eating a bowl of Ben and Jerry's on the couch, and looked at it like I was spooning poison into my baby. "You're eating too much sugar," she declared. "My grandchild doesn't need all those artificial ingredients." I kept calm and replied, "The doctor says everything's fine." "Doctors don't know everything, dear," she answered, patting my belly like I was a dairy cow. "Trust me, I raised 2 strong boys." Meanwhile, Adrian just sat there on the couch, glued to his phone. Then Maya arrived, tiny and beautiful, with her daddy's deep eyes and my stubborn chin. I thought, okay, now he'll put us first. But instead of bonding as a family, Adrian just pulled away more. He was always heading out to help his mom with something or rushing off because Julian had screwed up again. Dad needs help with his meds. Or, Julian is in trouble. There was always some reason. Julian was 28, but still lived like a broke college kid who couldn't keep a job and owed money all over town. And somehow, every time he messed up, it landed on our doorstep. "He's family," Adrian would say when I raised an eyebrow. "And what are we?" I'd ask, motioning to Maya on the floor, stacking her blocks quietly while her dad reached for his coat. But he was already halfway out the door, chasing after whatever fire Julian had started this time. 5 years into that marriage, I didn't feel like a wife anymore. I felt like I was drowning and nobody noticed I'd gone under. I was juggling everything: freelance gigs, deadlines, preschool pickup, bedtime stories, trying to keep the wheels turning while Adrian ran around playing the loyal son and selfless brother everywhere except at home. "Daddy's at Grandma's again," Maya said one night, her little fingers busy coloring at the kitchen island. "Yeah, sweetheart. He'll be home soon," I told her, but deep down I knew I was lying. Some nights, he didn't come home at all. Then came the real punch to the gut, a Tuesday in March I'll never forget. Adrian walked in the door with Celeste right behind him, floating in like a thundercloud wearing heels and expensive perfume. He didn't say hello to Maya, even as she ran up to hug him. Didn't kiss me, didn't smile. His face was locked in this stiff expression, like he'd already made peace with some decision I hadn't even been clued in on yet. Noelle, we need to talk, he said. Okay, what's going on? I asked, bracing myself. Julian is in serious trouble. The worst kind, he said. Celeste stepped forward, her smile as sharp and dangerous as broken glass. He made some very poor choices in Las Vegas. Poor choices. Adrian let out this bitter laugh. He lost $3 million. Noelle, $3 million. Those words smacked me like a bucket of ice water. My brain scrambled to catch up. How the hell does someone lose $3 million? I asked, trying to stay calm. High-stakes poker. Private games. He got mixed up with some people you don't want to owe money to, Adrian said, and I felt the blood drain from my face. Okay, that's awful. But what does that have to do with us? Adrian's jaw clenched tight. We need to sell your condo. I blinked. You mean my condo? You want me to sell my condo? That's when Celeste chimed in, her voice dipped in honey but reeking of manipulation. Real wives support their husband's family, dear. Family helps family. That's just how it works. The room went dead silent, except for the quiet humming of Maya flipping pages in her coloring book. I stared at the two of them, waiting for the punchline. Waiting for someone to crack a smile and tell me it was a sick joke. You're serious? I asked. Dead serious, Adrian replied. But the thing that broke me wasn't the words, it was the look on his face. He almost looked relieved, like he'd finally found a way to dump the problem onto me. Adrian, that condo is the only real safety net Maya has. I bought it before we even met. It's not part of our marriage. It's her future, I said, trying to hold my voice steady. Celeste waved her hand like I was talking nonsense. And right now, your brother-in-law needs that asset a lot more than a 5-year-old needs a rainy day fund. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Where exactly are we supposed to live then? Celeste, Maya's preschool is 3 blocks from here. This is her home. Adrian rolled his eyes. We both make good money, Noelle. We can rent a place. It's not like we'll be living on the streets. I looked at him, stunned. Since when did Julian's gambling become our financial burden? That polished look Celeste wore started to crack, just a little. Since the day you married into this family, sweetheart. When you said I do, you agreed to all of us. I said yes to Adrian. I fired back, not to bankrolling his brother's trips to Vegas. Adrian's jaw clenched again, grinding his teeth loud enough to hear. Julian made a mistake. But he's family. You don't walk away from family. And what about your family? I pointed to Maya, still coloring without a clue that her whole life was being put on the line. What about her future? Her stability. She's 5, Celeste said with a shrug. She'll adjust. Kids are tough like that. That's not the point, I said, already trembling with anger. But Celeste stepped in, her voice going low and icy, the kind of whisper that makes your blood turn cold. Darling, you don't really have a choice. I blinked. Excuse me. That's when Adrian opened his briefcase and pulled out a manila folder like it was just another business deal. I already talked to Oakwell Realty, he said. They've drawn up the preliminary paperwork. We just need your signature. My hands started to shake. You did what? Celeste stepped closer, her eyes hard and gleaming. And if you decide to be uncooperative about this, well, let's just say we know some excellent family law attorneys. She let that hang in the air like smoke after a fire. Custody battles can get very messy, she added, voice syrupy and slow. And expensive, especially for single mothers without a stable home. That's when I realized they were threatening to take Maya away from me. My daughter. My baby. But here's what they didn't know. I'd already been getting ready for something like this, even if I hadn't fully realized it at the time. 3 months earlier, something in me had started sending off alarms. It was that same gut feeling that kept me alive in foster care when people who were supposed to protect you started acting like strangers. So, I began quietly protecting myself. I opened a separate account at Chase and had all my freelance payments rerouted there, away from our joint finances. I even sat down with a family law attorney to talk through setting up a trust for Maya and putting the condo in her name to protect it. Looking back now, especially after the bomb they dropped on me, I can honestly say putting the condo into a trust was the smartest move I've ever made. I see, I finally said, keeping my voice calm. So you've really put a lot of thought into this? Adrian's shoulders loosened a little, like he thought we were finally on the same page. I knew you'd get it once you understood everything. You've always been a good wife, Noelle. And a damn good sister-in-law too. I glanced down at Maya, still carefully stacking her crayons into a crooked little tower, completely unaware that the people she trusted were scheming to steal her future right out from under her. You're right, I said evenly. I need to think this over the right way. The very next morning, with Adrian off at his downtown office, and Celeste probably busy planning how to spend money that didn't belong to her, I made a phone call that would change the course of everything. Delgado and Associates, this is Tasha speaking. Hi, it's Noelle Tran. I need to talk to Ms. Delgado. It's urgent. Less than 2 hours later, I was sitting across from Renee Delgado, the sharp-as-nails family law attorney who'd helped me quietly create Maya's trust fund a few months earlier. They threatened to take your child if you don't sell property that's already protected by a trust, she asked, scribbling furiously into a legal pad. That's exactly what happened, I said. She looked up, and for a second, I swear I saw something close to excitement flash in her dark eyes. Noelle, do you have any idea what you just handed me? This isn't just a case, it's a slam dunk. By that same afternoon, we had the paperwork filed, legal separation, emergency custody petition, and a court-ordered restraining order banning any harassment related to the sale of trust assets. Adrian was served the next day at his office on LaSalle Street. The call started around 6 p.m. I didn't pick up. Noelle, Adrian's voice cracked through the voicemail, panicked and raw. What the hell is this? Divorce papers? You can't be serious. This is insane. Call me back right now. The second voicemail came from Celeste, sounding like she'd swallowed a wasp. You ungrateful little witch. After everything this family has done for you? How dare you betray us like this? I played that one twice, then saved it to my records, just in case. Around 8 o'clock, the pounding on my front door started. I peeked through the peephole and saw Celeste's face red and twisted, like someone losing at a game she thought she'd already won. Open this door, Noelle. We need to talk about this. Mommy, why is Grandma yelling? Maya asked, peeking around my legs. Because some folks think if they yell loud enough, they're automatically right, sweetheart. I opened the door just enough to pass Celeste a white envelope. She gave me a confused little smile. What's this? A copy of the trust documents, I said. Turns out, the condo isn't mine to sell. Hasn't been for a while. It legally belongs to Maya now. I'm just the trustee. It's set aside for her future. Celeste's face went pale, like she'd been slapped with a stack of legal briefs. You planned this. I protected my daughter, I said, steady and sure. There's a difference. Then I closed the door in her face and turned the deadbolt. She stood out there pounding for another 15 minutes before she finally gave up and left. 6 months later, Maya and I are still living in our Lincoln Park condo. Well, technically it's hers now. I painted her bedroom lavender and got her a frilly canopy bed that makes her squeal with joy every morning like it's her birthday. The divorce? Fast and unforgiving. Adrian tried to argue I'd hidden marital assets, but the trust was established before any of this mess, so his lawyer couldn't touch a thing. Last I heard, Adrian had moved in with Julian. They're crashing together in a cramped little studio over in Wicker Park, trying to pay off casino debt by selling whatever furniture and electronics they have left. Word is, the guys Julian owes aren't exactly the patient, payment plan type. Celeste stopped calling completely after her own lawyer explained that trust funds were airtight and that her little threats about custody could land her in hot water with a family court judge. Apparently, threatening to rip a child away from their mother isn't exactly smiled upon in court. Who would have guessed? Surprisingly, Everett, Adrian's dad, actually reached out. He said he hadn't known what Celeste and Adrian were up to, and he was genuinely ashamed of how they treated me. He still sends Maya birthday cards. As for Julian, let's just say his gambling problem got dealt with after he had to leave town in a rush. Something about loan sharks and busted kneecaps. Adrian won't talk about it, but through the grapevine, I heard Julian ended up in Phoenix, working construction and sending every spare dime back to whoever's still chasing him. Just last week, I got a text from Adrian. I miss you both. Can we talk? I made a mistake. I didn't reply. Some mistakes don't come with second chances. My graphic design business is doing better than ever now that I'm not constantly distracted by family chaos. Without all the noise and manipulation, I've finally been able to give my full attention to my clients, and it's paying off. Maya just started first grade at the neighborhood elementary school. She's making friends, learning to read, coming home excited about spelling tests and story time. Every now and then, she asks about her dad. But honestly, she's adjusted far better than I ever imagined she would. Some folks seem to think that being family means you're supposed to say yes to everything, let your boundaries blur, and absorb every bit of damage thrown your way, just because you share a bloodline or a marriage license. Well, they're wrong. To me, real family means looking out for one another's dreams, not demanding we give them up. It means lifting each other higher, not breaking someone down to fix someone else's mistakes. Celeste did get one thing right. I didn't have a choice. But not in the way she thought. I chose my daughter. I chose our peace. I chose the life I wanted for us, one where we're safe, respected, and free to grow. And I'd make that same choice again, no matter what. Every single day. It's funny, when you start protecting yourself, people who were planning to use you suddenly act like you've betrayed them. Adrian and his family saw my quiet preparation as deception. But I saw it for what it truly was, survival. When someone shows you they're willing to risk your child's future just to make their own life easier, you believe them the first time. These days, life feels calm. Every Friday night, Maya and I snuggle up on the couch with a big bowl of popcorn and watch Disney movies until she drifts off to sleep beside me, her head tucked under my arm. Sunday mornings, we whip up pancakes shaped like little animals and eat them while the cartoons play in the background. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But it's ours. And it's exactly what we needed. Last month, Maya looked up from her drawing and asked me, Mommy, why doesn't Daddy live with us anymore? I paused. Then I told her the truth, in a way she could carry. Sometimes adults make choices that hurt the people they love, I said. And when that happens, the people who got hurt have to make their own choices, too, to stay safe. She looked at me with those big thoughtful eyes and asked, Did you keep us safe, Mommy? I did my best, baby girl. She nodded slowly and went right back to coloring. At just 5 years old, she already gets something that takes some adults a lifetime to learn. That love, by itself, isn't enough. Not unless it comes hand in hand with respect and protection. Adrian's family taught me a lot. That some people see kindness as weakness. That they'll twist generosity into obligation. And that when you draw a line, they'll call it betrayal. But they also showed me something else, something far more important. They showed me that I'm stronger than I thought. That I can hold my ground when people try to push me. That I can protect what matters most, even when it costs me everything I thought I wanted. The condo's worth even more now than when I bought it 7 years ago. And Maya's trust fund keeps growing, giving her a kind of security I never had when I was bouncing between foster homes. She'll have options. She'll have a safety net. She'll get to choose her future, something I never had. So now I ask you, was I wrong? What would you have done in my place? Because sometimes, loving someone means not helping them self-destruct. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for family is stop being their crutch, even if it means losing everything you thought was home. Sometimes, the bravest move you can make is walking away. And sometimes, walking away is the only way to make it out alive.